Welcome back to Module 9.6. In this lecture video, we're going to take a look at solving using linear equations to solve simple interest rate problems. So as you can recall, the simple interest rate formula was I interest equal to principal times rate times time. So now what we're going to do is assume all the time is to be 1 year. Okay, so what we're mainly going to do is translate either for the principal or translate for the rate. We're going to use the interest to write out our equation. All right, so again, I'm using the table again for the very first problem to demonstrate what we really need to translate and how to write out the equation. So this problem says last year Sarah invested money into two different accounts. So I got two different accounts. The first account has an interest rate of 5%. The second account has an interest rate of 6%. So basically what I got so far in my table is one interest rate is at 5%. Let's call that first account. 5% is 0.05. And the second account has an interest rate of 6%, so that's 0.06. If she invests $700 more in the first account than the second account, all right? So our translation, so this part, 7 more in the first account is referring to the principal. So let the second account to be X because this item is listed at the end of my translating sentence when I'm comparing two items. So that means the first account got to be 700. All right, the word more than means plus who? The second account, which is X. All right, and her total interest. So this part, the total interest part, is what I needed to write out my equation. Right? Because the total interest, let me write it down here slightly, okay? So the total interest is 288. What that means is I got two different accounts. So the interest from the first account plus the interest from the second account, right? I invest money in one account. At the end of the year, I get some sort of interest. I invest money in another account. At the end of the year, I have some interest. And the two accounts' interest together is 288. All right. So that's the concept we needed to write out the equation. Everything else becomes translation. So what's the interest from the first account? That will be principal times the rate. That will be 0.05 times parenthesis, because this is two terms, represent one principal, one item. So that will be times parenthesis 700 plus X. The interest earned from the second account is principal times the rate, X times 0.06, 0.06X. So the interest from the first account we already established, 0.05 times 700 plus X plus the interest from the second account, 0.06 times the principal X equal to 288. All right, now I just solve for X. For step number 3, let's see, 0.05 times 700, do a distribution, 35. So that's 35 plus 0.05x plus 0.06x equal to 288. So since we got calculator, we just use a calculator to solve this. Another technique doing it by hand is when you're involving with decimals, make every term into a whole number. But that's if we cannot use a calculator. Since I got calculator on hand, I'm just going to combine like terms, do my division, subtractions using calculator here. Let's add them up. Combine like terms, 0.05x plus 0.06x, 0.11x. Alright. At the same time, I'm going to move my positive 35 to the other side. That become negative. So that will be 288 minus 35, 253. Divide both sides by 0.11. So divide by 0.11. 235 divided by 0.11. My answer, $2,300. Alright, so let's go back up here. Let's see what the problem says. So how much did she invest at each rate? So X representing the second account. So the second account invests at $2,300. First account is $700 more. So that will be 700 plus 2,300, which will give me $3,000. Okay, so this is an example where we have to translate for the principal. Let's take a look at other ones here. The annual interest on a $18,000 investment exceeds the interest earned on a $12,000 investment by $288. So this is a very interesting translation. The $18,000 is invested at 0.06% higher rate of interest than at $12,000. What's the interest rate for each investment? So this problem is very interesting because it doesn't say the first account, second account. It tells me right away I got two accounts. One of them is investing at $18,000. The other one is invested at $12,000. So I already got my principal, which is investment in each account. So what we are translating here is the interest rate. The $18,000 is 0.06% higher than, let me highlight this part, I need to translate, higher than the $12,000 ones. So if we compare between these two items, the X got to be the 12,000 because that item is listed at the end of this translating sentence. So 0.06% higher. We gotta be very careful here. 0.06% is a percentage. 0.6%, excuse me. So if I want to convert it into a decimal notation, I got to move my decimal to the left 2 places. 1, 2. This is my decimal now. So that will be 0.006. So 0.6% higher, that will be 0.006 plus the interest rate at 12,000. All right, so that's how we translate for the two items in terms of interest rate. My principal is already known. Now, how do I write the equation? How do I write the equation out? Then we got to go back to the very first sentence. What does it mean when the $18,000 investment exceeds the $12,000 investment by $288? Exceeds means more. Okay, so this phrase tells me the $18,000 is going to be more than the $12,000 in terms of investment. Okay, not the principal, in terms of investment. So this is this is another concept I normally introduce to students in algebra class. It's called Mr. Chan versus Donald Trump. This is before, I've been using this example for years. This is before President Trump became the president. All right, so let's take a look. Trump versus Mr. Chan. Who has more money? Well, of course, Donald Trump has more money. So, Donald Trump has more money. Mr. Chan have a little bit of money. So, we can establish Donald Trump is already greater than Mr. Chan. So, how can our money ever be equal? How can our money ever be equal? Well, there's actually two ways to look at this. Either, let me go and copy this real quick. Either Mr. Chen plus more green, or Mr. Trump minus the same amount of green. If we take away money from Donald Trump to equal to Mr. Chen, or Mr. Chen can what? Can earn more money to equal Donald Trump. Okay, so that's the two different, that's a two different perspective for the two person to be equal to each other. Now, how does this relate to the problem we are doing? Well, we know Donald Trump is greater than Mr. Chen, so if you just imagine move this term to the other side, that means Donald Trump's money minus Mr. Chen's money, right? This is positive, come over, become negative. All right, Donald Trump exceeds Mr. Chen's by so much money, because this extra green dollar is still here. Okay, so exceed by so much means the difference between the two is equal to so much. So back to our problem. $18,000 investment exceed the interest of the $18,000 exceed the interest from the $12,000 by $288. So the interest earned from the $18,000 is more, right? Minus the difference between the two interest is $288. Okay, that's what this phrase is trying to say. Exceeds by 288 means the difference between the two is 288. So now we know how to write out the equation, and plus we also translate it. Let's go ahead and write out my actual problem out here. Principal times the rate for the 18,000, so that's 18,000 times 0.006 plus x minus the interest earned from the 12,000, which is 12,000 times x equal to 288. All right, let's do a quick distribution. $18,000 principal times 0.006, which is 108, plus 18,000x minus 12,000x equal to 288. So 18,000x minus 12,000x is 6,000x equal to, move the 108 to the other side, become negative. That's 288 minus 108, which will give me 180. Divide both sides by 6,000. 180 divided by 6,000. My answer, 0.03. 0.03 is the decimal notation. In terms of percentage, move to the right two places, so that will be 3%. So X representing the rate at the $12,000. So $12,000, we invest it at 3%. All right, thinking back now, 0.006 plus 0.03, or you can say, well, the $18,000 is 0.6% higher. Since X is 3%, the $18,000 got to be 3.6%. So that's the interest rate for both accounts. All right, very interesting problem. Talk about exceeds. Exceeds means the more subtract the less is equal to 288. Exceeds means the difference between the two accounts is $288. All right, let's try one more. Two investment totaling, see, total investment is at $35,000, produce an annual income of $13.95. So that means the two accounts, okay, I got two investment. The two accounts together is $13.95. one invest yields 6%, while the other one yields 3%. So I got one investment, and I got the other investment. So this problem already told me the rate of that one investment is at 6%, the other is at 3%. So what about the investment for each account? Well, I'm totaling $35,000. So let's go back to the previous video talking about you and I, okay, have $10. Right now it is, right now it is you and I have $35,000. If you have X, then the other one should be 35,000 minus X, okay? So now I got principal and the rate for each account. My total annual income is the $13.95. So the interest earned from that one account plus the interest earned from the other account together got to equal to $13.95. All right. So the interest from that one account, principal times the rates, X times 6%, which is 0.06x, right? 6%, 0.06 times the principal, plus 3% is 0.03 times the principal, which is two terms representing one principal. Put them in the parenthesis, equal to $13.95. All right, now I'm just gonna do a quick distribution. And let's see what I got. 0.06x, $35,000 times 0.03, 1050 minus 0.03x equal to 13.95. Combine like term, 0.06 minus 0.03x, 0.03x again, equal, move the 1050 to the other side, which becomes negative. So that would be 13.95 minus 1050, which is 345. Divide both sides by 0.03 to get x by itself. My answer, 11,500. All right, so x represents the principal for that one account, 11,500. 11,500. So the other one got to be 35,000 minus 11,500. So 35,000 minus the answer from the previous line, second A and S, by the other count, 23,500. All right, so that's the answer for this particular problem, talking about how much was actually invested or what's the principal for both accounts. All right, so real quick, in this lecture video, we talk about how to use linear equation to solve simple interest rate problems. We talking about that you and I have the $13,000 concept, and we also talked about what does it mean when we say exceed. Okay, two accounts, one account exceeds of the other one by so much, also representing the difference between the two is this 288. That will conclude this lecture video. Thank you for watching.